it's beginning to look a bit more optimistic than it did from the car park. You know, we'll drive down the road to Achiltabui, which is the really only artery that'll take us into the Coigach and Aston landscape. It's just it's a remarkable vista.
And the sun, as you say, is always low in the sky, if there is any. And it means that the light's it's almost always interesting. And the other thing is that this time of year, the colour is fantastic.
But the mountains look pretty spectacular. We've got a bit of colour in the sky now.
So I think this is the highest point, right?
The actual commuting alone to get to these places before you put a boot on the mountain is it's tiresome. Well, it's a great privilege to be here with Joe. I mean, I've followed Joe's work for decades. He's really the master of craft in photography, I think. To shoot landscapes front to back and keep that in sharp focus, and it takes a great deal of skill to do that. So I think what Joe's achieved in his lifetime is really significant.
It's a bit of a treat to be going out with Colin, who is, in my eyes, an absolute legend of our industry. Arguably the greatest mountain photographer of his generation. I remember seeing Colin's pictures back in about 1988, 89 and envying what he was doing then, and yeah, what more can you say?
Well, that was very impressive, Joe. Don't believe everything he says. I don't know about you, but this is my favourite area in Scotland.
There is something very special about this region. I think the space between the hills, the shapes of them make it extra special.
These are two fantastic hills, and you know the views from the top of these are quite stunning. Lovely walks up.
Fantastic. Yeah, I have been on Score Tours. That one, and that's Ben Owen, is that right?
Ben and Yon, the Hill of the Bird.
Ah, and Stac Pollaidh. That's the kind of, it's funny, isn't it, how Stac Pollaidh, when you think of it, it's like, what, 600 metres, if that, and yet it somehow commands this landscape like no other place.
It does, and I reckon that during the last ice age it was an unattack, and so the summit protruded from the ice sheet, and that's why it's so heavily shattered. So it kind of makes sense, because compared with the surrounding mountains, it's really eroded.
It's amazing, isn't it? Because everywhere else it's been glacially smoothed.
Yeah, very much.
You can see that. With so many interesting glacial features here. But as you say, if that summit of Stac Pollaidh, which is, as you say, it's shattered, it's like full of freeze-thaw features, aren't they?
Yeah.
It's just a superb spot, I have to say.
Just really pity we had a little more light, though.
I've heard you say that before.
But I think it's got potential. There's a lovely sort of orangeness, and we've got the blue and orange of the water. It's a lovely juxtaposition.
It's a classic colour contrast, actually, isn't it?
And this little lagoon here it's feeding into Loch Lurgan, which is quite an elongated loch that runs under Stac Pollaidh, and there's great opportunities for landscape photographs right down that.
So I'm looking quite wide here at the moment. In fact, trying a 20. I haven't used one for a while, but yeah, good opportunity actually to test it.
You're going to have a job trying to freeze that.
That's not going to happen. Well, actually, some of it's going to be sharp and some will be soft. But I tell you what, the light's actually improved quite a bit.
It has. I'm shooting this with a 35 and I'm trying to avoid the foreground just because I feel there's a bit much energy in it, and
Yep.
it's not too wide. I really like the 35mm focal length. I think for me 35mm and 28mm are my two favourite focal lengths for landscape photography.
Right. This is a 20 and it is looking quite good here. It's just allowing me to get really close to the grasses. I love the way the landscape unfolds here though, all of these different elements. I think after this I'm going to try getting up a little bit more and then widening out. It's funny, isn't it? Modern lenses are all autofocus and I only ever use them on manual. So
I know that feeling well.
But I love being able to stop down manually on the lens. That's a really nice feature.
It's actually much better than one might anticipate.
Yeah.
It's a bit of a compromise between that and the peak of tooth.
Well, you know what they say, Colin, everything's a compromise.
Let's have a look at what you're doing.
Well, I'm just going more landscapey now.
That needs more air at the top, look. Give it some air.
No.
Truncated.
No. Keep it tight and keep it concentrated, keep the energy in there. I'm going to come up a little bit there.
Mine's is much better.
Well, of course. I like these little tussocks in the loch and give it a sort of like little punctuation marks.
So you're not missing your ebony 5x4, Joe?
Well, it does feel a bit small, doesn't it?
Trouble is, you have no movements.
Oh, yeah, no, well that's true, and I do miss that. I mean, it's one of the frustrating things about using these smaller cameras is that there's not quite so much involvement. But you know, in almost every other respect, I don't miss it. I certainly don't miss the cost or the fact that you had to drive to the lab to get it processed. And today, I think the best thing of all is the fact you can experiment so much and try different things. And certainly on any kind of windy day when things are moving around, being able to experiment with that movement is really, really good, really helpful. Although the one thing, you know, that I think is really good about using the big cameras that hopefully we still kept is that is the discipline of it.
It's the craft, isn't it, really?
Absolutely, yeah.
And you still practice that when you're out with these smaller cameras, you know, leveling the tripod or the camera so that you've got no keystoning. You've got, if the camera is obviously level, everything that is in your viewfinder is going to be exactly the way that your eye sees it. So you're not really introducing any photographic artifacts in there by convergence.
Exactly, and that's really the main object. A lot of the time is to keep it as neutral as possible, so it just feels like you're there. You know, and to avoid those distortions of the photographic process, which, yeah, they really do announce themselves. And I do feel that that's one of the aspects of the craft that's sort of been lost to a large extent with many folk today. People are much more interested in emphasising the process, and to me it's really about the subject matter rather than the process.
Very much, very much.
So what do you get, Colin?
Well, I don't know. I'll tell you what, I have got frozen feet. That's what I have. That looks pretty good, Joe.
That's all right, I think. Yeah, I think
the light's better in the sky than we thought earlier.
It is, yeah. Yeah, it's been better than expected. Which, you know. What about you? Let's have come on, quick peek.
Well, a masterpiece. Look
Masterpiece. That's it. That is lovely, actually. I really like that.
Well,
cool.
We'll see how it processes up.
Yeah.
Should be able to bring some of that colour out there.
Nice one, but yeah, I'm feeling the cold as well. You
And I
reckon it
think lunch is on the
Yes, at last! I was hoping you'd say that. Let's go.
menu. Yeah, let's head out.
The strain of being a film star.
Yeah, dream on. Right, we're on the move.
Good stuff.
Right, we'll see you at the car. I'm getting the seats on right away.
That's it for part 1, but you can follow Colin and Joe to the Aird of Coigach as they go chasing the light in episode 2.